couple on Olympus. He was the god of war, ruthless, unstoppable, burning with desire. She was the goddess of love, irresistible, enchanting, married to someone else. Their affair was the worst-kept secret in the heavens, but when the truth came crashing down, it did so in chains, exposed, naked, and laughed at by every god in the sky. This is the story of Aphrodite and Ares, the most scandalous affair in all of Greek mythology. A tale of passion, betrayal, humiliation, and revenge. Before betrayal, before lust and rage, there was resentment. Aphrodite was not meant to be caged. She was born of chaos and beauty. When Uranus, the sky god, was overthrown and cast into the sea, from the foam of his severed body rose something unexpected, not a monster, but a goddess of overwhelming allure. Aphrodite, the very concept of desire given form. When she first walked onto Olympus, flowers bloomed at her feet, gods stared, mortals knelt. Her beauty was not just physical, it was spiritual, hypnotic, magnetic. Zeus, the king of the gods, realized she was too dangerous to remain free. Her very presence was a threat to the delicate balance of Olympus. So he made a decision. To avoid war among the gods, he married her off, not to a rival king or dangerous suitor, but to the least likely candidate, Hephaestus, god of fire, volcanoes, and metalwork. Hephaestus was brilliant, creative, and kind, but he was also lame, deformed from birth, and had been thrown from Olympus by Hera herself. His return was hard-won. His work was admired, but his place among the gods was never truly secure. Now he was given the most desired woman in existence, Aphrodite, as a reward, or perhaps a trap. Their wedding was somber. Aphrodite wore no smile. From the very beginning, this was no love story. Ares, the god of war, was everything Hephaestus was not. Where the smith god was patient and precise, Ares was raw, primal, unpredictable. His blood boiled with violence, his stride shook the earth, and his eyes burned like battlefields. The other gods mocked him for his impulsiveness, his arrogance, and his obsession with conflict. Even Zeus often found his own son embarrassing, but Aphrodite didn't. To her, Ares was intoxicating. She didn't care that the others whispered behind his back. She saw him in his armor, covered in blood and glory, and felt something stir, something fierce and forbidden. They began with glances, stolen touches, then came the midnight meetings, the rendezvous during feasts where their legs brushed under tables and no one dared speak of it aloud. Eventually, it stopped being secret. Aphrodite and Ares took what they wanted, not out of love, but out of lust and spite. Their passion was fast, feral, and open. Some say Ares would arrive at her bedchamber still fresh from war. Others say she wore the scent of steel and blood like perfume. She didn't care who saw. He didn't care who objected. And Hephaestus? He was the last to know. Nothing stays hidden forever, not even among the gods. High above the heavens rides Helios, the sun. Each day he crosses the sky in his golden chariot, watching the world below. No god, mortal, or monster escapes his gaze. And one day, as he soared above the earth, Helios saw them, Ares and Aphrodite, entwined, moaning, tangled in silken sheets. He saw them in Hephaestus' own bed. Helios didn't hesitate. Whether out of loyalty or love of drama, he descended to Olympus and delivered the news straight to Hephaestus. Imagine the moment. The god of fire standing still, molten metal cooling on his hands as the truth crashes down around him. He had given her everything. Jewels forged from the heart of volcanoes, necklaces spun from starfire, a palace of gold and coral beneath the waves. And she had given herself to his brother in arms. But Hephaestus didn't scream. He didn't cry. He went to work. In the heart of his volcanic forge, surrounded by hammer and flame, Hephaestus created something new. Not armor, not a weapon, but a trap. A net so fine, so thin it was invisible to the eye, but it was made of unbreakable adamantine, metal forged from the bones of the earth itself. A web that no god, no matter how strong, could ever escape. He laced it across the bed like gossamer, silent, waiting. And then he waited. Days passed. Nights grew longer. The tension in Olympus thickened. Aphrodite went to her palace unaware. Ares followed, as he always did, desperate, brazen, greedy for her again. And as their bodies met, the trap snapped shut. Chains wrapped around their arms, around their legs, their waists, their throats. They were caught in the act, naked, frozen, exposed. Hephaestus had sprung his revenge. But the final blow was still to come. Hephaestus summoned Olympus. He didn't quietly confront them. He didn't seek privacy. No, he made it public. He marched into the hall of the gods, dragging the bed behind him. The unfaithful goddess and her lover squirmed in their chains, unable to hide their shame. Every movement exposed them further. Every god could see. Zeus was there, Poseidon, Apollo, Hermes, Dionysus. Even Hades looked on from the shadows, silent and judging. And what did they do? They laughed like hyenas, like jackals at a feast, laughed at the beauty queen caught red-handed, laughed at the war god bound and helpless, laughed at the scandal, the irony, the reversal of power. Hermes whispered that he'd gladly trade places with Ares if it meant being entangled with Aphrodite. Apollo joked that even music couldn't mask this kind of embarrassment. Dionysus spilled wine from laughter. Even Zeus, known for far worse infidelities, chuckled at the sight. But not all laughter was kind, and Aphrodite's eyes burned, not with shame, but humiliation. Ares, stripped of his armor and pride, said nothing. He couldn't. Hephaestus demanded justice. He called upon Zeus to annul the marriage, to make it known that he would not be mocked, that gifts, loyalty, and patience had earned him only betrayal. But the gods didn't give justice. They gave mockery. Only Poseidon intervened. The sea god, ever fond of Aphrodite, begged for her release. Hephaestus refused, until Poseidon swore on the Styx that Ares would pay restitution. The smith god relented. The chains fell. The lovers fled, but their shame remained. Olympus never forgot. Though the gods are immortal, their scandals echo like thunder through the halls of time. Aphrodite was never again seen as pure. She remained the goddess of love, yes, but now a love that was dangerous, forbidden, tainted. She would continue her affairs, but the image had cracked. She was no longer a prize, she was a weapon. Ares returned to war, where his wounds were physical and his enemies didn't laugh. He withdrew from Olympus for a time, brooding in Thrace, hiding behind conquest. He was still feared, but no longer respected. Hephaestus, he never trusted again. Some say he took another wife, Aglaia, one of the Graces, a goddess of elegance, splendor, and beauty, just like Aphrodite but gentler. Others say he retreated fully into his forge, speaking little, creating endlessly, and letting the fire burn his sorrow into steel. The net he used, it was never replicated, a symbol perhaps of how even gods can be broken by betrayal. What makes this story timeless isn't just the scandal, it's what it reveals about love, power, and performance. Aphrodite represents desire, yes, but also rebellion. She refused to be tamed. She rejected the dutiful wife role Olympus assigned her. Her betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a statement, a refusal to be boxed. Ares represents obsession, violence not just in battle but in romance. He loved Aphrodite not gently but possessively. In her he saw his equal, not in war but in fire. Hephaestus, meanwhile, is the quiet genius, the man who gives everything and receives nothing. His revenge isn't brute force, it's intellect. It's humiliation served cold. But it raises the question, was he seeking justice? Or was he simply tired of being overlooked? And then, the gods. The cruelest part of the story, they didn't defend marriage, they didn't punish the guilty, they laughed. Because Olympus is a mirror held up to humanity, to the way we treat scandal, to the way we consume betrayal as entertainment, to the way we punish those who dare to love on their own terms, especially women. The gods weren't above drama, they were made of it. And that's why the story of Aphrodite and Ares still matters. Because even in a world of immortals and monsters, love can still betray, pride can still wound, and vengeance, real vengeance, isn't about war. It's about making the world watch. So the next time you hear the name Aphrodite, remember, she wasn't just the goddess of love, she was a rebel, a risk, a force. And Ares, he wasn't just the god of war, he was a man undone by a kiss. And Hephaestus, he was the god who proved that sometimes the smartest man in the room is the most dangerous of all. Because in the end, you can forge a marriage, but you can't chain the heart. If you enjoyed this tale of gods, betrayal, and divine scandal, and don't just disappear into the shadows, subscribe for more mythology stories they never taught in school. Like the video to feed the algorithmic gods. And tell us in the comments, was Hephaestus justified or did he go too far? Because on this channel, the myths are ancient, but the drama is eternal.